If you're looking for a job, you might get pissed off after watching this video.
Recently, companies have justified layoffs by saying AI can replace workers, but some critics have countered by calling the move AI washing, implying that companies are dressing up old-fashioned cost-cutting as AI adoption in a bid to satisfy shareholders.
Hey guys, what do you know? Every day you live and you learn something new. If we was to address the elephant in the room, we gotta call it what it is. Companies are simply trying to avoid accountability and potential lawsuits. But all for what though? For the sake of protecting their bottom line. AI to these companies is pretty much a scapegoat, a way to deflect blame. But you know what the irony is? If AI didn't exist, they would still make excuses as to why hiring isn't where it needs to be today. Crazy, ain't it?
What we've seen historically is that as technology advances, people move to higher and higher levels of abstraction, of performance, work that involves supervising the technology to do the work instead of doing it directly themselves. And what we're seeing with AI so far is consistent with this pattern. So my bet is on not seeing massive labor effects across the economy, but there might be specific jobs and sectors in which there might in fact be quite negative consequences.
I get where he's coming from, but I want to challenge that. Yes, AI has affected more industries than others. No doubt about that. But if we look at the technology industry, its adoption of AI and the advancement of AI in that industry is significantly more faster than, let's just say, farming, constructing, elder care. The list goes on. That's why it would make more sense why the technology industry is more heavily impacted than the other industries, because their adoption rate is a lot lower than technology. But that doesn't take away from the simple fact that, yes, they are trying to have their adoption rate and their AI as advanced as the technology industry. They just haven't found their way around it yet. That's all that it is. And the moment they find their way around it, they'll be equally as impacted as the technology industry.
Software engineering has been the clear leader, I think, in the pace of AI adoption, but also the effects of AI adoption, to the point where going back to a time when all the code was written manually by hand, that almost feels like going back to, punch cards before the days of keyboards. Critically though, even in companies where AI is being rapidly adopted for software engineering, it's not really clear that it's leading to replacing software engineers with AI. In fact, the number of job postings for software engineers actually continues to increase.
Until recently, job postings for software engineers and others had been going down. But last year, the need for programmers spiked, unlike the rest of the jobs market.
The problem with AI in general when it comes to the industries it has affected is that it has made a lot of things automated. That the skills that you used to have that were deemed valuable to that industry, now AI can do. And that puts you in a tough spot in thinking, yo, how can I have skill sets, attain skill sets, and have value that AI simply can't take away from me? And that's hard, because when it comes to AI, it's only getting more and more advanced, which further places you in a tougher spot.
Like most technology, AI will continue to improve. And even if it doesn't get everything right now, that potential for improvement leads some to worry that it might get too smart for humans to handle. Among those raising concerns is Geoffrey Hinton, a Nobel Prize-winning computer scientist known as the Godfather of AI.
Suppose that some telescope had seen an alien invasion fleet that was going to get here in about 10 years. We would be scared and we would be doing stuff about it. Well, that's what we have. We're constructing these aliens, but they're going to get here in about 10 years and they're going to be smarter than us. We should be thinking very, very hard, how are we going to coexist with these things?
We all know that it takes a significant amount of time to be proficient at a skill. If you were competing against a 5-year-old in a race and you were 25 years old and you spent more time on this earth practicing how to run faster than that 5-year-old, but the day you guys are up against each other in race, the 5-year-old dusts you by a mile, you would feel some type of way. Because you know in reality, that 5-year-old doesn't have as much training as you do. That's exactly what AI is. The skills that you spend a lot of time trying to be proficient at, AI comes around and cuts you. Makes you question a lot of things, man. Doubt starts to grow, and I don't blame any of y'all if y'all feel that way due to AI.
What do you say to the people who say there may actually be a greater danger here beyond just losing your job?
Where I disagree with people like Hinton is on two big things. One, if we just club a whole bunch of things together as some umbrella category of AI risk and then treat it as an AI problem, we just lose a lot of clarity and we lose a lot of avenues by which we can actually address the problem.
But let's say we did what he said, instead of just generalizing the blame to AI. If we analyzed every single cause, I would not be surprised if a lot of those causes that are bad is fueled by AI. AI is the main reason why those causes are even bad in the first place. Because AI can have positive effects and can have negative effects. And those negative effects are brutal, man.
One kind of risk that people are worried about is that AI is very good at hacking, finding new vulnerabilities in software, and maybe taking over critical systems. That is something we should be worried about, but it turns out that specific risk has a very specific solution. But this idea that we should imbue AI with a maternal instinct, or in computer science it goes by the term alignment, that AI is going to magically know what is the right thing to do in every possible situation, that seems like a pipe dream to me.
If you're a person who uses the internet, and every single time you're on the internet, articles surface, YouTube videos that are recommended to you, that when they simply pertain to a company, it always alludes to the company trying to adopt AI and utilizing the AI to enhance their features. And what is the result of that you constantly keep seeing? Is consumer pushback. They are opposed of the entire idea. And if you see it enough times, you start to realize that a lot of these cases start to echo the same story, that consumers are simply opposed of AI. So when you look at it from the outside, you can't help but to blame AI.
Whatever this new world of AI makes possible, Narayanan says there's one thing that it simply will not be able to do: predict the future.
Once this happens, we will have no choice but to rely on AI in order to figure out what, let's say, military or geopolitical strategy should be. But when we actually look at the research, the picture that emerges is that the reason people are not that great at predicting the future is not some limitation of our biology. It's because the data that's out there that might allow us to extrapolate to what might happen in the future is pretty limited, but also the future is genuinely unknown.
It's pretty much common sense. AI will never be able to depict the future. I don't care what no one says, and I stand on that. You want to know why? Because AI models are trained on historical data. Historical means it's from the past. It already occurred. And often, more times than not, when data is collected, it's collected from the present and the past. I've never heard of someone collecting data from the future. What? That's crazy that people even think that. Whoever's thinking that, yo, you giving AI too much power, man. It's not like that.
And just because the future is genuinely unknown, none of us, not the experts like Hinton and Narayanan, and not even AI itself, can predict just how big it can get or how fast it can grow.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but AI is here to stay, and it's going to be in a constant state of becoming more and more advanced. And the biggest consequence of it all is the uncertainty of where it's headed, which means if something bad was to happen, it'd be already too late. But I'm gonna leave it there. Let me know what you think. I'm really curious. But until then, peace and love. I'll see y'all next time.